The average person loses $98,000 over their career. This is not because of bad investments, but because people do the right things in the wrong order. 41% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency, yet millions jump straight into investing while credit cards charge them 21% interest. There is a correct sequence to building wealth, and the first rung is not what most people think. Maya's hands shook as she looked at the repair bill. It was $1,200 for a blown tire and a bent axle, due by Friday. For many, this kind of surprise could mean weeks of anxiety and a tough choice between paying the shop or putting groceries on a credit card. But Maya had something most Americans do not: an emergency buffer of $1,500 she had built up over the past year, tucked quietly in a high-yield savings account. She paid the mechanic with her debit card and went on with her week, annoyed but not derailed. That is not the norm. According to the Federal Reserve's 2024 Economic Well-Being Report, only 41% of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency with savings. The rest would have to borrow, often at punishing rates. Credit cards now average over 21% interest. If Maya had not had her buffer, that $1,200 bill would have landed on plastic. Carrying that balance for a year would have cost her nearly $240 in interest, money paid for nothing but time. With only minimum payments, the real cost could climb to $1,400 in interest over nearly 7 years, turning a single bad day into a lingering financial drag. The numbers are clear. A small emergency fund is not a luxury. It is the first line of defense. Even a modest cushion of $1,000 to $2,000 covers the most common shocks, such as car repairs, co-pays, or a missed paycheck. For renters and young workers, this buffer can mean the difference between a temporary setback and a debt spiral. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and Vanguard both point to this starter fund as the most realistic first step. It is not about perfection or covering every scenario. It is about buying yourself time and options so that the next surprise does not force you into expensive borrowing or missed payments. Before tackling debt or chasing investment returns, this is the foundation that keeps everything else from falling apart. Credit card debt doesn't just slow wealth building, it quietly reverses it. The math is brutal and relentless. Any debt with an interest rate above 7 or 8% outpaces what most investments can earn over time. Right now, the average credit card annual percentage rate in the United States sits at 21.47%. That means for every $1,000 carried month to month, $215 vanishes each year in interest alone, with nothing to show for it. Luis, a 32-year-old graphic designer, faced this trap head-on. He had a $4,200 credit card balance at 9% annual percentage rate. When a small windfall arrived, he hesitated. Should he invest it or wipe out the debt? He chose to invest, putting the $4,200 into a broad market index fund averaging 7% a year. 5 years later, his investment had grown to $5,950. But the credit card balance, left to compound, had ballooned to $6,220. Luis had $270 less than if he had simply paid off the card first, despite 5 years of steady market growth. The numbers get even starker as rates climb. At 8% annual percentage rate, a $5,000 balance grows to $7,345 in 5 years if ignored. Meanwhile, the same amount invested at 7% only reaches $7,001. That is a $344 net worth gap just from the order of operations. With average card rates above 21%, the gap explodes. The longer debt lingers, the more it eats into future wealth, compounding quietly in the background. This is why every major financial planner, from Vanguard to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, draws a bright line at 7 to 8%. If debt costs more than that, paying it off is the single best investment you can make. It is a guaranteed risk-free return, far higher than any stock market average. Only when high interest balances are gone does it make sense to chase market growth or employer matches. Until then, every extra dollar sent to a credit card or personal loan is a dollar that stops the financial bleeding and sets the stage for real progress. Every year, millions of workers miss out on money their employers are ready to hand them. No strings attached. The typical 401k match is simple. Contribute 5% of your salary, and your employer puts in another 5% dollar for dollar. For someone earning $55,000, that is $2,750 of free money each year, just for showing up and saving a bit from every paycheck. This is not a coupon or a rebate. It is an immediate 100% return on your contribution before the market does anything at all. The real magic happens when that match compounds. If you start capturing the full match at age 27 and keep it up for 30 years with a steady 8% annual market return, your matched contributions alone can grow to $322,000. But delay just 5 years, maybe because you are unsure, or you only contribute a token amount, and the difference is staggering. The account ends up at $224,000 instead. That is $98,000 lost, not to market swings or bad investments, but to hesitation and missed opportunity. Sarah knows this story firsthand. She started her first job at age 27, but only contributed 2% of her salary to her 401k, earning a partial match of about $550 a year. After 3 years, a colleague explained what she was missing. She bumped her contribution to 5%, but the early years were gone. Even after catching up, the missed match from those first 3 years translates into a present value loss of nearly $9,500. That is money she will never get back, even with years of diligent saving. Employer matches are the closest thing to a financial cheat code. They are not tied to investment risk or market luck. The formula is clear: contribute enough to get the full match, and you double your money instantly. For most people, this is the single highest return action available after paying down high interest debt. It is the step that locks in someone else's money before you start scaling up your own. Once the match is secured, the next layer of safety, building a full emergency fund, can begin in earnest. A true safety net goes beyond a quick buffer. The next step is building a fully funded emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, set aside where it is easy to access but hard to spend on a whim. For most working adults in their 20s and 30s, the Bureau of Labor Statistics puts monthly essentials, rent, groceries, utilities, transportation, and insurance at about $2,600. That means a 3-month fund comes to $7,800. For 6 months, it is $15,600. This is not about stockpiling cash out of fear. It is about buying yourself time to recover from a layoff, a medical event, or a string of bad luck without scrambling for high-interest loans or selling investments at the worst possible moment. In high-cost cities, the numbers run higher, but the principle stays the same, enough to cover the basics so emergencies do not become disasters. Once that fund is in place, the focus shifts from defense to growth. The most reliable engine for building wealth is not a hot stock tip or a complicated trading strategy. It is steady, automated investing in low-cost index funds. Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, for example, charges just 0.04% in annual fees. That is 40 cents a year for every $1,000 invested. Over decades, this tiny fee means thousands more dollars stay in your account instead of vanishing into fund manager pockets. Consistency is what makes compounding work. Dollar cost averaging, putting the same amount in every month, rain or shine, smooths out the market's ups and downs. If you start with $5,000 and add $250 a month for 9 years, and the market averages a 7% return after fees, you will end up with about $27,570. That is not luck or timing, it is math. Even if the market dips, steady contributions buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when they are high, lowering your average cost over time. This order, full safety net first, then regular low-fee investing, means your progress is not easily derailed. You are not forced to cash out investments in a panic, and you are not bleeding money to high fees or bad timing. The result is a system where wealth builds quietly in the background, powered by discipline and protected by foresight. Today, financial stability is less about chasing the next big investment and more about building a strong foundation, step by step. As wages stagnate and debt costs rise, order matters more than ever. The real power is not in complexity, it is in doing the basics in the right sequence. What's your next step?